My name's Julia, and I'm the NINO postdoctoral fellow in Egyptology at Leiden University. Vizier Kagemni Memi is often included among the so-called saints of the Old Kingdom, even though it is acknowledged that we lack precise emic terminology to distinguish evidence of his veneration from that of the revered dead. Locality-specific studies of such cults are important for understanding how divinity and reverence were ascribed to some people more than others. Kagemni is never described as nature, divine, and we have no clear evidence of votive depositions near his mastaba connected to a cult. But in a small number of offering inscriptions in the Teti Pyramid Cemetery, the dedicants are a imakhu that is honoured or provided for before him. In my poster, I focus on displays of relatedness, graffiti, and name-giving in order to paint a general picture of how Kagemni's veneration developed within the specific area in Saqqara. Kagemni was a chief justice and vizier during the reign of Teti in the 6th dynasty, and he was overseer of the pyramid town of Jedsut Teti, a role in his community that seems to have set him apart from other high-ranking officials also buried in the Teti Pyramid Cemetery. In the earliest excavations, many inscribed objects were not recorded in situ, but it appears that some burial monuments clustered around Kagemni's mastaba, and also that a small number invoked him in their offering inscriptions. It's notable that these monuments probably date no more than 2 or 3 generations after his death, and also that they recall the living vizier through his titles. He very conspicuously retained the aspects of his identity that bound him in service to the king and his community in life. And this is also true of the fragmentary Sebait preserved on the Prisse papyrus, a much later so-called teaching for Kagemni of the 12th dynasty, in which a variation of his titles, overseer of the town and vizier, are given in the final line. Graffiti in Kagemni's mastaba may index his position as a revered and celebrated community leader, a person to whom it was desirable to be associated with through scratching and incising one's name into his monumental tomb complex. At least 40 added inscriptions of names and titles occur in Kagemni's mastaba. But it is important to stress that this number is in fact not unusual when compared to other tombs in Saqqara, such as Ti, Nyank Khnum and Khnumhotep, and Mereruka and Mehu, for example. And the growing picture of graffiti making at Saqqara and Abu Sir in the Old Kingdom suggests that this was an accepted practice in its own time. Yet some tantalizing clues may connect some graffiti to the other evidence for Kagemni's veneration. At least one graffito recorded by Battiscombe Gunn, but not photographed, was made by someone who had been given a short, hyperchoristic name, Gemni, that recalled Kagemni's name and memory. Theophoric style names are the clearest indication of a posthumous cult for Kagemni, and 17 examples of such names for 33 individuals are known from Saqqara, which include Kagemni or the hyperchoristic form Gemni, which is not attested beyond the Teti Pyramid Cemetery. This name was probably coined to intentionally leave out the element Ka as a mark of respect to Kagemni's own Ka, and it seems certain, given the restricted geographic and temporal use of this name, that local people knew that Gemni was associated with the revered vizier. The names have forms like Gemni Emhat, Sart Gemni, and Gemni Usa. That is, Gemni to the fore, or daughter of Gemni, or Gemni is strong. And they range in date from the mid-6th dynasty to the reign of Amenemhat I, after which this naming pattern falls out of use. It's important to note that these types of locally specific, theophoric style names became increasingly common from the late Old Kingdom onwards. Within the Teti Pyramid Cemetery itself, we have evidence of names honouring officials such as Mereruka, Shepsipu-Ptah, and Vernu. Giving a personal name to one's child that invoked a superior or an ancestor's life and health may have been comparable to other acts of petitioning, like that found in the letters to the dead. What distinguishes Kagemni, however, from these other officials is the volume of names which honoured him and the longevity of this naming tradition. Such practices in ancient Egyptian name-giving demonstrate how people could become entangled through names in the life history of others. It is clear that a memory of Kagemni as a notable man in Saqqara, an exalted spirit of Jedsut, persisted long after his death. thank you.